to the class. All right. Well, here we are again in our third class of the 12 Steps in the Red Road. And I have Brother Casey here with me. That's the other half of Ashley. And their 3-year-old, Frankie. So Ashley's really been helping me with this technology thing. Last week, what I said was, these classes, hopefully people would attend all 7. Some people don't want to make that commitment. But it gets into who's giving for. What I learned in recovery is you got to give it away to keep it. It's like, and what's the it that you give away? And I'd say it's your story. And your story is hopefully always changing, because if it's the same, you're kind of stuck. So going around the wheel is a completion. And I'll do this for Casey because I already smudged myself. But he drove over here, so I'll give him a little sage to burn. Purify ourselves. Sage is the out breath. I let go absolutely of my way and hook up to a power greater than myself. So the other thing we do is bring in sweetgrass, which is the in breath, which is I take in love, I let go of fear. So this purifies, it smells so wonderful. So a lot of people hang it in their cars or trucks. Sweetgrass, a great book, Braiding Sweetgrass. I must have sold 30 copies of it or given them away. I'm worried about my buddy Bob, who's usually here. He's been having some health problems, and I tried to call him today and I couldn't get him, so I put my prayers out for Bob, who's an elder like me. And I think it's really important. Like, I've written several books because I keep a journal, and I don't know how I'm feeling until I write it down. So I keep a daily journal, and I usually over-prepare myself, which is, if you're giving a talk, there's the one you plan, the one you make, and the one you wish you'd made. So, but if you're, and I'll look at these tapes and I say, well, that was terrible, or, So last week we talked about in series of 4, the fourfold way, some of the teachings of Angelus Arian, who taught me a lot about the yin, which is the feminine energy. We're into the yang energy because we're between, the air is dream and the fire is will. It's not I need to or I want to, it's I will. In recovery, they say we pray for the willingness to go to any length. And that means letting go of my old ideas and hooking up with a power greater than me. So there's always, Creator has a better plan than I do. So I'm a worrywart, and I went to a great Indian teacher named Dadaji, and I sat with him, and he could emit a fragrance out of his fingers, and we'd bring him bales of water, and he'd turn it to the most fragrant perfumes you ever saw. It came right out of his fingers. So he had accessed that, and his medicine was, do not worry. Worry makes you the doer. You are not the doer. So the idea of the flute is the hollow bone. And in recovery, in AA's 12 steps, the short version is face up, clean up, and live up, which means face up that the problem isn't outside of you. If there's a problem, it's the way you're seeing things. It's not what's outside of you. So we talk about attitude adjustments. How do I adjust my attitude from one of entitlement to gratitude, which is the purest form of prayer, is gratitude. So if I get up and say, thank you for another day, because at 84, I've outlived all the actuaries, and I say, what do I have left before I let go and go to spirit? I do that every night. I've been fighting sleep a little bit, and that's fear. It's worrying about things that I can't. There's a beautiful serenity prayer. It says, Creator, grant me the serenity to accept the things I can't change. I can't change Donald Trump or the politics. Courage to change the things I can. And the third is the wisdom to know the difference. So when you're confused about, I can't change my brother here, I can change my attitude from one of, it's being in balance. In recovery, they say, dare to be average, avoid the extremes. So if you're peaceful, you're in that peaceful place in your belly, which is elk medicine. So I make drums. This is a beautiful bear drum, which is in great voice. Every drum has a season. We spend 9 months in Mama's belly listening to this sound. I don't know if this thing's picking up the vibrations, but I have four quadrants of 4. I have 16 holes here. When I make a drum, I always start with myself in the south of the medicine wheel. And then I go to the north, which is the winter. The south is the summer solstice. And over here in the east is the spring equinox and the fall equinox. So we're in that place between, we're in the yang energy, dream and do, like what am I going to do today? And how can I balance that with be? That I don't have to do, I can be. And what's that balance between listening to my body, listening to my emotions, which is the west, which is the bear. We're sitting in the west. Behind me up in the corner here we have an owl. That's the guardian of the dark. That's the eagle of the night. And something I learned about owls is they're the only predator that a skunk has. Because the owls have no sense of smell. But they have night vision, so you can't hear them coming. Kind of like a cat. So if you hear a bear and you make a lot of noise, they'll go turn around and get around unless it's a grizzly, and then you. But we are nature, and when I go out to Bear Creek, and this is not the time to go out to Bear Creek because we got snow and sleet, and but I love it out there. I have a man cave, and I'd love to build a retirement home out there and teach classes, teach drum making, and have a nice little retreat. Not big, just small. I've got good soil out there. We've had a medicine wheel garden. So this is getting towards the planting. What are we planting? This is the seeds. This is Johnny Appleseed. All the stories of the Green Man, Father Nature, Coco Pelli, Pan, all those mythological characters associated with the rites of spring. You know, going from the darkness into the light. And of course, resurrection is Easter. That's the pagan ceremony of renewal. Is bringing back the light, which is spring. And so this is a time to plant. We plant in the south, which is the earth. So on our medicine wheel, let's see here. I've got
photos.
I go down here to photos, and I go to Red Road class, right? Well, I'm on it here. Let's see. So what's this thing down here?
This is where you took the photo. If you scroll up,
Okay.
you got that list.
Well, these are, I'm not sure I want this one right now, but, so here's the medicine wheel. We've got one with candles all around it right behind us. But I took a picture of and when I make a drum, I start in the white, which is the south.
Mm-hmm. Do I have to screen share?
Pardon me?
Do I have to do the screen sharing?
Yeah, I think so, probably.
Let's go back to photos. Are we already in screen sharing?
Thought we were. Ashley, can you see that? Yeah, I guess we are, because I'm up there.
No, you're not. Share screen and select the photos window.
Is that in more?
Well, I had.
No, there's a share button on the bottom of the Zoom screen.
Oh, that share button. Sorry.
Oh, right here.
There should be a menu that pops up and then click the photos.
Zoom. Click them. See the green button.
Share.
Photos.
So now I can share this one.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Good.
So when I make a drum, I always start with myself first. That's called the south is the personal mesa, which means what do I want to bring in my own, what's my goals. And then the south is the turtle, the mouse, the coyote. Those are the animals associated with the south, but it's earth, it's Mother Earth. It's the drum. So I have a drum down here in this picture. And all the herbs that come from the Mother Earth. And the turtle, which is the 13th moon. The turtle is associated with the woman. Persistence. Nothing takes the place of persistence. The turtle doesn't like the rabbit. It's just, every day you soak hides and make drums. Every day you have a little work, a little play. being with your friends. In recovery, they say don't get too tired, hungry, angry, or tired. So that's HALT, HALT. That's one of the things that having friends in my life that I can talk to is really important at my age, especially the elders that are older than me. They say you're old as somebody 10 years older than you are. But when you get to my age, I'd like to offer my gifts, my story. And if you just glean from what you can out of it, but it's a gestalt. A gestalt is, we covered last week about what a projection is. Like a projection is, I hate in you the qualities I hate in myself. So a projection is, I see in you the things I don't like in myself. So if you can see the beauty rather than the beast, that has to come from seeing the beauty in yourself. So this is a very lonely walk around this wheel. But that's what is that old song? You gotta walk that lonely valley. You gotta walk it by yourself. Nobody else can walk it for you. That's a beautiful song. And when we complete our own hoops, we're whole. We don't need, we're not needy little boys anymore, or little girls. But if we go around and we're codependent, which is the mother disease, they say, of addicts or alcoholics, is where you put other people's needs above your own. So there's this beautiful phrase in the North, which is, we're coming from the winter. So in that north direction, the color red, that's your prayer, that's the air, that's your dream, that's your vision. What's your vision? And that's why the natives go on the hill and make a prayer and spend 4 days and 4 nights in prayer out in nature. And that's what I did, that had the vision of creating Cedar Mountain Drums, because I was a stockbroker in New York and a counselor, and just celebrated 50 years without a drink of alcohol. So I was a pretty willing, I had to lose kind of everything I had, but it brought me to my knees, and I had to reach out and says, I don't know how to stay sober, I need help. So I think when you can deflate the ego enough to where something can enter that space. This morning, I always start my day out in my hot tub. That hot tub is a great thing in the winter for me. I don't like cold. But I've been taking hot and cold showers. As they say you go to Brighton Bush, they have the cold plunges and the hot tubs. So it's good to have a balance between the Snow Queen and the fires that are just ravaged Southern California. All the fires down there that are destroying what we have. So balance is sitting in the middle of the air, the fire, the earth, the water. And you always start with yourself. And that's, like this morning, I was watching strum patterns. I've got a guitar, but I've been playing the baritone ukulele because I like to play a little music, and I got a piano over there. And singing and playing is helping that child inside. Now, the black and white like the red road is from body to spirit, and it's also the cycle of a breath. So if the in breath is, I take in, I hold some for myself, and I let go. I give it away. And then I pause in the south, have some for me. Don't give it all away. Say, make sure you're working with people and not being codependent. Some people aren't ready, and you have to discern. And these days it's tough because I get so many spams, and I've got a good web guy that I call and say, is this, or I send him these spams, is this legit? And he says, no, it's a scam. So it's really important these times to have a guide, a map for living your life. And this is what's worked for me, the 12 steps of recovery, which is face up, clean up the wreckage of your past, and then live up, which is keep maintaining your spiritual condition one day at a time. And the natives have taught me the concept of the non-progressive Great Spirit. And that comes in the north. That's through prayer. So it's your dream. That's when the ancestor talked to us. So the first thing some indigenous cultures would do is share their dreams with each other. What's learning you? What did you learn last night? Well, I don't remember. So I start keeping a dream journal, and I still write my dreams down. And I used to have this dream of flying in an airplane, and there were power lines above me, and I was between the earth and the power lines. And I said, how am I gonna land, and how am I gonna get through this? So sometimes your prayer doesn't start. What the natives have taught me, your prayer doesn't start till you can't go any further. So we're given so much power, and I can go down there, and I got all the orders out today, and I'm taking care of things a little bit at a time. All my procrastinations and this business is pretty simple when I keep it one day at a time. It's only when I get into awfulizing, which is I take a possibility and turn it into a probability, and then it's inevitable. So this, I start in the south down here in the way I'm facing, and I move towards the north. When I make my drum, I start with honoring the Mother Earth and myself, and then going to the opposite side, which is to spirit. So that first, when I make that drum, I first honor the Mother, and then I honor the Father by going down through the hole, and then bringing it back up, and then walking around that wheel. So I'm lacing it. I'm lacing it like this drum, which is 4 times 4. In each direction, there's 4 directions. So that's a teaching in itself, because each day has a beginning, an ending, a noon, like we're going back into the dark side now. We're in the shadow of the day, of the year. We're coming into the light, which is over here on the east, which is the eagle. And Martin Haber's, as the way I remember it, is he had the eagle, the golden eagle in the east, the bald eagle in the north, and the buffalo. And the sweetgrass, as I've got signified there, calls in spirit. So each day, if you just say thank you, that's a prayer. If I wake up and the committee starts kicking on, I say, oh God, I gotta do this, what am I gonna do? And so I have to get into breathing the breath, which is the way we start on this. Right now I'm breathing in, right now I'm breathing out. It's the cycle of the breath, and when I breathe in, I let that breath come from my belly. So when I want to center myself, I'm getting too much in my head, I go lay on that, I have a beautiful mat over there that has crystals on it. And I just practice breathing and mindfulness. So anyway, this is,
I don't know if your mouse is working.
what's going on?
Yeah.
There it is, okay. Well, let me, how do we get out of that? Let's see. Oh, let's go here. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Okay, these are also from Angela Sarian. She talks about the 4 meditations. There's 4 ways to meditate. There's a sitting meditation that most people are familiar with. There's the lying meditation. There's a standing meditation. And there's a walking meditation. And each of those has a place in a season. So I love this analogy of, I don't have my glasses on.
They're right there.
I'm not. Let's see here. We make that bigger. How do we do that? Right here?
That's scan the text.
What's that? Here we go. Okay. So the standing meditation is accessing the inner warrior. The resource is power and presence. And what's that third? This applies to we convince by our presence. So standing is the warrior. It means I take a stand. I take a stand against injustice. That's the warrior. That's of the east, of the morning. So it would be the springtime, but it's also the cycle of a breath. So the yang breathes out, the yin brings in. So I'll let go, like I used to do a journeying class here, shamanic journeying, and you pair up with a mate, and you ask their permission to journey for them, and then you ask them what they want to journey for. You might say, I'd like a power animal. So you don't choose your own power animal, somebody chooses it for you. So you become a hollow bone, and I'll journey for you with your question. And that's a very powerful experience, because nobody has a direct pipeline to spirit. We need each other.
Oh. Yeah.
Becoming a hollow bone, the flute. So the dream is the air, and that would have more to do with this north direction. Now the lying meditation is accessing the inner healer, and the resource is love. So in the south we have birth, we have Frankie. Frankie's got a whole heart, and he's a wholehearted child, and he feels everything, and he's that's the east, all the qualities of a child. So if we wake up in the morning, I'll say, I wish I could teach these classes in the morning. I'm a lot fresher and more connected to spirit. This time I'm tired, kind of in the twilight of the day. So anyway, the walking meditation is addressing the inner visionary. So like when men walk together, oftentimes like soldiers will start in training with each other. Like if you're walking with a friend, you'll be all out of step, but pretty soon you're in perfect rhythm. That's a law called entrainment. And entrainment says this, the universe seeks to be in harmony, and fear is a universal destroyer of harmony. So it's the teachings of the water, or Aikido, the martial art Aikido, which means if you attack me, you're already defeated. So I just help you take your fall. But if I fight you, I'm gonna get beat up or I'm gonna push you down. But I just step aside and honor your direction. So if you're, like I was joking with a friend, I think we ought to name the world Trump's world. So that's, but in recovery, they say we neither endorse nor oppose any causes. So try to avoid politics. In recovery, they say there are no leaders, there's only trusted servants. So when your leaders aren't representing you, the people have to do something about it. And that's a shift we're in right now. The government's too big, that's right. So part of this is the right thing, because there's a lot of fat that everybody's feeding off the tax money, especially the ones that have inside information like politicians. And I've seen when Citizens United was enacted, it means that corporations are people. That's what they sued me up there on my property and says, we want access, we can't get to our trees up there without going across your land. And of course I said, no, you're not gonna go across my land, it's not for sale, it's a private road. But they bullied their way right across it and clear cut all those trees above me. It was like getting raped in a way, because they're not harvesting wood, they're clear cutting it. And breaking those spells of you are nature, and taking a walk is a great thing. Like I've been walking around the block, but I don't, I stay in this house too much, because in the winter, and when it's raining out or snowing out. So anyway, the sitting meditation is the West. It would be accessing the inner teacher and the resources, wisdom. So that's namaste. Like the highest in me honors the highest in you. And appreciating and seeing the beauty in people, not the beast. And that you can't do that until you do the inner work. Because sometimes I feed the beast and forget to feed the beauty. But when I sing, the songs start singing me. I don't sing the songs. Like I heard a beautiful story about, you don't create your feelings, they'll come and visit you. You're not the creator of your feelings. That's your soul. That's where you live. That can't be destroyed. That's eternal. I was listening to Julianne of Northrop. It was a woman saint over in England that her mantra was all is well and all will be well. So anytime you think things aren't well, You just repeat that, all is well and all will be well. And it's just like the Jesus prayer. I used to say that when I was in peril, and that's, Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy. I was riding in a snowstorm up in North Dakota, and I couldn't see the road because it was covered with snow, and I was just going by 2 telephone poles on either side of the road and trying to stay in the middle, because I was going to Williams, Minnesota, way up in northern Minnesota, to a little Lutheran church up there to give a pitch on this campaign I was doing, because back then I was doing fundraising consulting for nonprofits. Anyway, I use that prayer when I'm in peril. I say, this too will pass, this too will pass, this too will pass. What people will do is they'll awfulize it and go to the doctor, and the doctors will tell them, well, you need to have an operation. So I'm not against allopathic medicine. I think it has a place, but it's my health is my business first. We take loving care of what we hold as sacred. So in this, okay, so let's see what else here we got.
I think if you want to go see all of them, you have to hit that arrow.
Okay. Hey, there we go. I'd like to pause and, does this make any sense to you, Casey?
Yes.
Okay. So there's, this is a beautiful, simple little thing. When you carry a pipe, a Native American pipe, Grandfather Martin says, here are the lessons of the pipe. And it was brought to the people by a woman. Her name was White Buffalo Cap Woman. And she told the elders to teach these things to the people. And these are the things that come with this pipe. And when we join that pipe together, we're joining our masculine and our feminine energies together, the left and the right. So we pray for good health. Good health starting with yourself. Praying for happiness. Like birds sing. And if you want to know where you're attached, look at where there's no humor or no music. So if you're playing, and help, which means in recovery they say when the hand reaches out, I'm able to respond. Doesn't mean I will respond, but I'm able, I'm responsible. So that's help, but be discerning about not getting codependent and helping people that aren't ready to be helped. Respect starts with self-respect. Like people come in and tell me what their time's worth, I say, well, what do you think my time's worth? So I don't want to talk about that. So it's how do you hold your own value and not let that ego, which in recovery that's edging God out. That's the false pride that's born out of self-centered fear. So compassion, that's a beautiful thing. The Chief Red Jacket of Mingo, that's my tribe in West Virginia, had a slogan that says, kindness is a language even the deaf and dumb understand. So try a little kindness, be kind. Compassion, I know how you're feeling, I've been there. So that's not sympathy, it's empathy. Being able to identify with that feeling. Quietness means Do I have to have the computer going all the time and the TV going or something to do? Because men sometimes have a hard time slowing down to the B energy. So I go out to Bear Creek and I say, wow, what am I doing in the city? But it's got seasons, and this is not the season to be out there. It's a lot of snow. And then the last thing is generations, and that's having respect for the four ridges of life, which is the dream is the unborn. That's when we die, we go back to spirit. And then when we wake up, that's wake, that's an Irish word, you celebrate people's life, you don't mourn their death. So the wake is every day I get to vote to play or not to play. And if I vote to play, my spirit is renewed. If I vote not to play, atrophy wins by default. So the first ridge is the unborn and newborn. The second ridge is the adolescents and the adults. The third ridge is the adults, the elders. And the fourth ridge is going back to sleep. So how many lifetimes are you going to come back before you learn your lessons? So this is a beautiful rendition of the why do people carry pipes. The six realms, this is beautiful. This is very Buddhist. Out here in the West, we have an AA meeting. It's called Refuge Recovery, and it's all based on Buddhism. And Buddhism is not a religion, it's a way of life. And they say there's samsara is you get caught in feeding the black wolf, which means you're addicted to what's not working. So the six realms of samsara are heaven and hell. Those are two realms of suffering. We get attached to the Titan realm, which is you can have everything you want except happiness. So those are the people that say, I want it all. I want everything. So it's called greed. And we lack the philanthropy of. And then there's the animal realm, which is our animal nature. That's a lower nature. That's Iron John, the primal male or female, the wild woman. That's women who run with the wolves, and Robert Bly's Iron John, which is that lower part of ourselves that we want to deny. But that's actually part of the shadow. So anyway, there's the Titan realm, the hungry ghost, which means the hungry ghost is depicted as this huge body with this little bitty head, and they can eat non-stop and they'll never satisfy themselves. That's a great definition of greed. So the hungry ghost is, I think Gabor Mate wrote a book called In the Realm of the Hungry Ghost. And then there's the human realm, which is the only one that we can get out of these six realms is through bringing this energy into ourselves. That each day we get an opportunity to either wake up in the samsara, which is the black wolf, looking at what's not working in your life, or feeding the white wolf, which is stretching. My first thing in the morning is to stretch. My cat taught me that. I used to have a cat here. First thing he did was stretch. Dogs do that too. They don't wake up like humans. Just take the time. And I've raised a kid, so I know what Casey goes through. You got a little one, and it's like changes your whole life. You don't know what love is until you have a little one.
Mm-hmm.
Touches your heart. Anyway, let's see here, what else we got? Oh, these are the, I was gonna cover these a little bit too. More on Buddhism. The Four Noble Truths in Buddhism is life is suffering. There is a way out of suffering, and what's the third and fourth? Let's see here. Got them here somewhere. Four Noble Truths. Oh, the second one is suffering has a cause. The third is suffering has an end. And the fourth one is there is a path to end suffering. And that's called the Eightfold Path out of suffering. And that begins with right view. Out here it says right discipline, right livelihood. What else we got here? Right light, those are two of them.
Mm-hmm.
There's right speech, no lying, no divisive chatter, no killing or injuring, no taking what is not given, and no sexual misconduct, no material desires. That's the fourth way out of suffering. Right livelihood, no trading in weapons or living beings, addiction to liquor or other poisons. So that's right effort, preventing the arising of unwholesome states. In recovery, they call it stinking thinking. It's not our drinking that gets us stinking. It's our stinking thinking that gets us drinking. It's when you come back to these eightfold paths. Right mindfulness, a quality that guards or watches over the mind. That's the stinking thinking. The eighth is what is that eighth? Right concentration. And the first seven support right concentration, which I say is the ability to play like a child with your whole heart and not hold back anything. And say, what's relationships like when you are all in? To feel like, wow, I'm in this with my whole heart. That's wholehearted play. That feels wonderful. So I love to play, but I used to do play shops and I couldn't get anybody to come because they didn't have time. Somehow they, anyway, let's come back to where we are right here, I guess.
You want to stop the screen share? Yeah.
What do we do?
That red button, yeah.
This one?
Mm-hmm. Do you? There you go. No, it's us.
Oh.
Yeah.
What did I do?
Well, you said you wanted to come back to us, right?
Yeah.
Right. So we're there.
How do I make that bigger?
That green button. Yeah.
All right. Are you with us, Ashley?
Probably still playing.
What time is it?
7:18.
I am. I'm still here.
Okay. Well, I wanted to turn it over to you, Ashley, since you've been to everything but tonight, and maybe talk a little about what you've gleaned from being here. What was important that you learned, or you speak for a little while.
Hold on, let me blow my nose real quick. I'll be right back.
Ladies first.
Ladies first. Yes. Appreciate you handing it off to her because, to be honest, I was falling asleep before I left for this. I was sitting on the couch with Frank so he could watch his TV. I'm like, well, I'm tired. And I rested my eyes for 10 minutes.
And you just went right off.
Yeah. So that was also the case for last week.
Okay.
Here she is.
Here she is.
Who's Frankie? I know. Yeah, after the first class, you told me to start recording my dreams and kind of taking them a little bit more seriously. And the thing that keeps on coming up in my dreams is my own yoga practice. And it's something that I do deny a lot, and how I don't know, I think that I use it as my play time, but it's related to sobriety, and that, I would always need, like, marijuana or other substances to get into the play mindset. And the thing that I'm trying to do right now actively is, like, find the play without needing to think that I have to have something else to help me find it, because it's there. And I just need to kind of let myself do that a little bit more, and how do I just remove, what's the barrier to that freedom of play? So that's what's been kind of coming up for me as you were talking.
How about you, brother?
Yeah, I like being able to frame, like, play as like a form of concentration. That was very pivotal in being like, it's really like just having that choice of yeah, of wanting to choose like a good attitude of like not denying yourself that time, that opportunity to be like, hey, I can, be a positive influence in my son's life. I can be a positive influence in my own life. I can be a positive influence in my wife's life. I can be a positive influence in others' life. And like, that to me is, that just hearing that right now, that was so game changing. And just appreciating like, oh yeah, that really does work out that way if I like take in a, the positive in what I'm experiencing right now, even if I'm tired or if like I'm achy or something. Like, it would benefit me to like, okay, let's like release this tension or release this thought of like I'm not in control of my like emotions or how I'm feeling right now. It's like, okay, yes, I can choose to do something positive with what I have, and that can help unlock that playfulness. It's just concentrating. So that, yeah, that was my takeaway. That was very helpful right now.
The other thing we covered in previous classes was naming your top 10 values. So, what do you hold sacred? And that's a great one to, because a lot of times we lose touch with what we really value because we don't do that soul searching. We're looking outside rather than inside. So west, where we're sitting in the west, looking east. So we're going into the having a plan, which is the structure to build on. So I've got the land, I've got the water, you don't need to buy power. Nature supplies us with all the power that we need. And so I'm grateful to have what I have, and I'd love to have a retirement home out there, and basically have a store out there, and move it, kind of shift everything, because I think I've got enough presence here in Portland to draw people out there with a place where you could go out and practice yoga and have a ritual, a structured ritual, ending up with co-creating a grandmother drum together. That's been such a beautiful, because you make your drum and then we jointly create the grandmother drum. That was where I was from. It was a matriarchal. You carried your mother's name, not your father's name. So, and the women chose the chiefs. And the first way you were eliminated is if you wanted to be the chief. Because they would never pick someone that ran for office. Because they get into debates. And so I believe the new paradigm is dialogue, which is not only speaking, but hearing. That's the balance of yin and yang. Like you get a bunch of men on a deer hunt, and everybody's telling stories, and nobody's listening. Everybody's waiting for their turn to jump in. Learning the yin aspect of, like I cleaned my ears out today because I say, I don't know, my hearing's not what it used to be. I say, is that a hearing loss, or is it, I want more intimacy, I want you closer. So you start discerning, that's discerning. We used to do this thing in my play shops where you'd walk towards someone until you stop breathing. And that's what clowns do. Like I used to be a clown, and I'd go in and you play with kids, and if they're scared of you, you act more scared of them than they are of you.
Nice.
So you start hiding from them, and then they get curious, and then they'll start looking for you, you see. So there's a way to draw, that's curiosity. That's another gift of the East Gate, is all the qualities of a child. Spontaneity, a love that does not know itself, like Frankie doesn't know he's not loved until somebody tells him he's doing it wrong. Teachers and parents, and how can we break the old spells of the natives say, these are not your children, they're the child you live with. So the best gift you can give them is your example. Not acting one way and then expecting them to not be just like you, because they don't hear not. Children don't hear don't do that, they hear do that. So they don't hear the negative. So you tell the child not to put his hand on the stove because you get burned. They don't know what burned is until they put their hand on the stove. And so good judgment comes from experience. And when you have the experience, you can integrate it into your being. But if you haven't had the experience, it's pretty scary. So this is where we are now, is just do it one day, one breath at a time. That's how I got sober. Says I could never stay sober forever. That just thought of me staying sober forever was terrible. But I could do it today.
Mm-hmm.
And you wake up every day with a new day. So in recovery, they say one day at a time is all I can deal with. And that resonates with the 12 steps, or the Red Road, which is the non-progressive Great Spirit that there is. So part of the acceptance, the woman, the yin in me, is my lifting practice. So I not only drum this way, I drum this way too. And playing the djembe, you're using both sides of yourself. So it's that's a male drum. The hand drum I make is a woman drum. It's a circle. So a woman is the circle. The drumstick is the male. So this is the male right here. This is the beater. I'm gonna beat my drum. We think of the difference between beating a drum and drawing out the voice or the potential, you know. If you're slapping it, your hands are going to get real sore. We're not taught to play. So I don't know if you can hear it on this recording.
You can, yeah.
Let's see. What time is it?
7:30.
7:30. We got 30 more minutes. Questions about any of this? Nope.
No questions. Oh.
What's Frankie got?
So
Says he's hungry.
oh.
So I might have to go get him some food while we listen to the last half of this. There was one story that you told last time that I wanted to ask if there was more to the story about the bear that takes your heart and doesn't give it back to you until you've learned how to love it. Is that the story?
Yes, it's the Heartline Bear. It's the one I wrote. I posted it down in the store, and when people read it, they just melt. It says it. We're not taught how to nurture ourselves, especially men that haven't reclaimed their yin, which is brotherly love. It's one of the forms of love. There's agape love, unconditional love. That's Tara. And then there's Kali. Kali is death mother or crazy woman. So those are masks we wear. In recovery, they say we are like actors on a stage, driven by 100 forms of delusion. We put on these masks, and we wear our work mask and our spiritual mask and our father mask. And those are aspects of you, they aren't parts. So a lot of times changing our language, just I am Patrick. That's the I am. That's Ram Dass. That's all the I am that I am. That's Christ consciousness. I am. I'm a spiritual being in a human experience. if I'm treating myself sacred, I'm going to take loving care of that little boy, because my little boy is in my heart. So the story of that, I had some teachers. I had two teachers that one was a gay man and one was a woman, and they were partners. I don't know much about them, but I know that they came when I needed them. And I was doing some healing on my inner child, trying to love the one inside. And they had me do some journeying, and they said, "Where is that little boy?" And he says, "He doesn't trust you. He's hiding." So I began keeping a journal to little Patrick. I'd say, "What do you want to do this weekend?" "I want to go fishing." Well, I'd never go fishing unless I had somebody to go with. So I made a deal with little Patrick. I'd take him fishing. And I started creating those spaces where I was loving myself, or tending that little boy that didn't trust me. So you have to earn the trust of the boy. It's not, and you're not entitled to it. That's why walking around the wheel is so important. Because if you love yourself, you can manifest your essence wherever you go. And forgive yourself when you don't do it perfectly. So those are the four addictions that we talked about. Addiction to intensity, perfectionism, the need to know, and what's not working. So that, coupled with being impeccable in your word, tell the truth without blame or judgment. It's another way of the warrior. Tell my truth, not that I have the truth, but it's my perspective. And then we pass that stick around the circle, and everyone has a chance to give their perspective. So that when we start loving ourselves, that little boy starts showing up. Oh, I think because he always wanted to play, but I was betraying him by running by my addictive nature. So a lot of men are addicted to work, and they get all their value in their work. So when they retire, they're thrown into chaos. So they have to learn how to come back to balance. That's homeostasis. So every day I get to vote. So it's one day at a time, and practicing presence. Like I had this practice where I take a table tennis, and I've got my ping pong table. I call it the pong ping table, and I play with Mandy. We play ping pong as a way of meditation. It's called active meditation, and we play with. I sometimes change shots each time with my left and right hand. So I've started using my left side, which is my feminine side. A lot of people that are left-handed, your right is your feminine side. Depends on the left brain, right brain, the two hemispheres of the brain. So your creative side is in your little child. So when you start loving yourself, that child starts trusting you, because you're not just betraying yourself for everybody else in your life, you're taking care of yourself. And I had to learn that when my sweetie went to London, and I miss her. I say, you don't know what you have till you lose it. So it's so important to keep this program simple. Of whatever program you have, is to have a little work, a little play, good support, friends that you can trust, and enough. There is enough. If you've got, I've got more than enough. My God, I used to write bad checks for $15. Hope they didn't bounce because I needed wine. And now I've got a store, I've got property, and it's all paid for, and I got so much to be grateful for. So how quickly I can get into the addiction to what's not working in my life. Just to keep it simple and say, well, I got all my orders out today, and I'm not the man I want to be, but thank God I'm not the man I used to be. I think telling our story is wherever we are, and it's some of us are at different stages than everybody else. One of the things that I used to do these groups as a Gestalt therapist, personal growth groups, where you everybody in the circle is asked to change their language, which has a lot to do with changing your beliefs. If you change your language, like letting go of words like it, but, it scared me, and say, I'm scared.
I'm scared. Yeah.
So simple, but it's not easy because we get into these old habits of talking about rather than speaking from. So the speaking from is, if a child hears thunder, they're scared, they'll run, or a dog, things that are unfamiliar. And that's, we all go through that, It's called walking in the gray clouds, or walking in the not knowing. So if they say, pause, when you're agitated, go take a walk. Don't let that escalate, because your anger will turn into rage, and nothing good comes out of that. So it's little, and these teachings of the medicine wheels. Well, am I going to leave this world just a little better than I found it this morning? Well, I learned how to strum on my guitar today. I spent a good deal of time listening to this woman teaching music. I love music in my life, and I've got all these instruments around the house here. Guitars, ukuleles, mandolins, Tibetan bowls. That's what I see. This house is a microcosm of what I want to create out of Bear Creek, which is a community that everyone's taking care of themselves. It's like the Mondragon cooperatives in Spain. When you go to work, you don't work for anyone. You work. You're a member of you're an owner, not a worker. So that's why they say, I am the first and last of my nation. I am whole. There's nothing lacking in me. But I forget that. I get amnesia. If you got a few friends, they'll put you back to where you're supposed to be. So I've got this men's group that meets Monday night, and a lot of them are going through things that I've gone through. Two of them are dealing with the father that's ready to cross over. They say, you're not a man until your father dies. Because as long as your father's alive, you'll want to make your father proud of you. So I was able to tell my father how much I loved him, but I was blocked because I got drunk at my father. He was the one that I hated. And it wasn't until I looked in the mirror and say, I'm just like him. So I did that work with other men and learned how to be true to my brother and his partner, and honor your success is my success. Not look at it as a competitive thing. Like Left arm, huh?
I'm massaging my palms right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was just
cool.
doing my right, and now my left needs it. Yeah. I've been trying to at work, since I'm an electrician, I have to staple up wires. And one of my journeymen that I respected early on was like emphasizing it'd be nice if I practiced using my left hand to hold things,
Yeah.
or to hammer, because he doesn't use his left hand to hammer. So today, I was doing more of that. I'm like, it is really difficult, and it's really weird to notice this, like the dexterity in your left hand, and how it's like you have to retrain your mind how to hammer, because
It's not your mind, it's your soul.
But right, and it's like tapping into that, just like it's this whole
It's like what I learned.
rhythm and
The gateway to the West is not the mind. The mind's in the North. The West is the woman. That's feel. How do you feel? So men are over here, well, what do you think? So how do you feel about what I think? Well, this is what I think about what you feel.
Yeah.
So then we make a baby, but have we brought a Luna into the relationship? It's just, what's the relationship want? What I want, what she wants, and what's the relationship want? So that's when you hook up with Spirit's will, not your will, because my will gets me in trouble. But will's important. When you say, I will do that, that's a contract. Not I want to or need to. Those are two other words to eliminate. Makes you needy. Creator gives you everything. You have everything. It's just claiming it. It's called the hero's journey. Joseph Campbell is the inward journey. Is to do that in this time of day. Is how did I do today? Well, I did okay. I didn't do it perfect, but I got to teach this class. I got to be with my new friends, and I really appreciate Casey and what he changed light bulbs downstairs. I got another light out there in the shed. I need my pole lamp is not hooked up, and I don't know. So maybe that'll be the next project.
All right.
Just little things and I don't mind paying for work. But there's also exchange. It's like that's going to be the new currency. Because when the dollar goes belly up, we go back to barter, and like I got drums.
Trading.
We'll trade and co-create something. That's what Barbara Marx Hubbard says is going to replace sex is co-creation. And I've seen it in nonprofits when you have a common goal. We're going to raise $3 million to do this. So when you get about 2.5 million raised, you announced your campaign that you're going to have a fundraiser, but you've got the big gifts first. If you start with, hey, I need $3 million, what can you give? I can't. Well, I give you $1 or $5. We don't think of where your treasures are. There's where your heart is. So if you really want to know what you value, look at your checkbook.
Where you're spending your money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I do this, what are the 10 top things that you hold sacred? Is it money? I've never seen it in 20 years of doing these classes. Money's never entered the equation. And yet, what do people spend most of their time doing? It's pursuing money. It's values, what it is. Money's the agreed upon exchange. It could be, when you're in a community, everyone's got, you learn everyone's beauty and get them to pair up with someone they don't know. Because if you want to know who somebody is, ask them about their father or their mother and what's their relationship with them. Like
Yeah.
I've got a man that's in my group, and he's a healer. He works, and his wife is dying, and he's having a hard time because you can heal everybody but the people closest to you.
Yeah.
So he's going through some tough times. But I asked, and he told me a story about his mother. So it's funny how we recreate these stories in our relationship. Like men marry their mothers, and if you're a dog person, like my daughter has a doggy daycare business, and she loves her dad. She sent me that
Yeah, that's cute.
dad thing.
My forever hero.
Yeah. So it's wonderful to have to live long enough to where your children go through the "I hate you" to reconnecting with, wow, it's perfect the way I was born. Acceptance is the key to all my problems, and acceptance is a woman's thing. That's a receive. I let it in. I say, you did a great job, Casey. Oh, wasn't that good? The response is thank you.
Yes.
We cut
Praise
off.
was given. Yeah, don't.
We cut off these accolades at the pass, Okay, so
Yeah. It's
what time is it?
7:51.
I'm very cognizant of the time.
Yeah, feel like I've been trying
7:51.
harder to almost have that wisdom to perceive like what the person is saying, and then like, okay, don't get onto an autopilot or a track of like what I think I need to say. Like, they're saying it in a way in which if I respond this way is acknowledging I'm listening to you. Just have that as like a baseline. Don't, right? Like,
That's beautiful.
acknowledge if you're trying to say, if you're going to say something, make it acknowledge what they're saying.
And in Hakomi therapy, which is one I studied, was so you don't listen to the words, you hear the music. Like I can say, I really love you, Casey. And what do you hear? Do you hear the I love you?
Or
You hear the tone.
Yeah.
So children don't hear the words, they hear the tone. So if you're nurturing yourself, you'll be able to nurture that little one. But also taking care of yourself even when you're in relationship is what I'm learning. Because Mandy's gone, and I love her when she's over here. I love her when she's there too. But when she's not here, I get to take care of myself, and I have all these stories. Well, I can't take care of myself. I need help. No, you can take care of yourself. So I'm doing that. I think we're about
7 minutes till 8.
7 months late, but I say I like to post these and get permission to share it. 'Cause, you know, as transparency is what creates functional community. If you're only as sick as your secrets. So that's why in recovery they work those cleanup steps. And there's Frankie! Yay!
Yeah. Oh, you're muted.
What can we pick this book?
Dinotopia.
Wow!
Mommy just got that for him.
It's about dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs? All about dinosaur with T-Rex. Where's T-Rex?
No, Ashley shared something with me recently, and it was like, maybe I found it, but it was like some of the best things to do with your kids, and it's just like, just to listen to them and like acknowledge what they say and then just shut up. And it was almost, it was very powerful this morning. I was taking him to school because Ashley was sick, and my personality is that I am punctual. So if I ever get
Still find T-Rex. There's
mode where I'm rushing, like, I just like start butting into things and I like make problems.
Yeah.
And then I like today it really took a lot of my strength to like not be anxious about being late. And just like a little peep of it came out when I was taking Frank out of the car to go to his daycare. And he was like, I want to go this way. And like I just started walking off. I'm like, we got to go this way. And then he stopped and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to come pick you up. And I picked him up. And then he was just like, I'm frustrated. And I'm like, oh, you're frustrated. Okay. You remember that, Frankie?
That's beautiful.
You wanted to explore with Daddy because you love Daddy and hanging out.
T-Rex or Rex. Where can T-Rex Rex?
Look at that.
Wow! Well, I'm going to turn this recording off.
Okay.
T-Rex was. I want to find T-Rex. I'm T-Rex.
Let me say a little prayer here.
Okay.
You say you call in spirit each morning. That creator come in and show me the magic. Because life can be magical or it can be logical, and there's a balance between the two. So I'd like to acknowledge my friends Casey and Ashley and the little one there, our teacher, and pray that we all stay safe and healthy. Give us good health, long life, and help us to integrate these teachings in a good way and into our lives. And thank you, Creator. Aho.
Oh.
Okay, that's it. That's,
You want me to stop?
yeah, just stop the recording.